Welcome back to the channel, bub. I'm Wolverine. Well, no, I'm not Wolverine. I'm Flash, and I promise I'm not doing that voice ever again. Thank you guys for coming back again. Today is Halloween, as time of recording, and at the time, by the time you see this video for the first time, happy Halloween. And yes, I will keep this mask on for the entire video. It's actually quite comfortable, contrary to how it might look. So today's deck, not today's deck, but well, I do have a deck, but today's video I want to talk about Werewolf by Night. It is the new card hitting Marvel Snap today again. It's Tuesday, and we should also, from what I'm to understand, we should be getting a patch today as well. So we're getting a new card Halloween and a new patch, and new card 3 o'clock Eastern time, my time. We'll be getting the new Werewolf by Night card. In short, I think the card is going to be very strong. Definitely stronger in terms of overall power, usability, utility, etc. But we'll get into it. Let me pull up my Werewolf by Night, I don't know, kind of spiel here. Most of us know what the card does already, but after you play it on reveal, card at another location, move there and gain +2 power. Now, it's a 3 cost, 3 power card at base. Keep in mind that the card has to move to get the +2 power. First of all, big thing. Second big thing along with that is that it has to be moved via your own on reveal. So let's say your opponent moved it with, I don't know how they would move this card. Magneto, right? Your opponent moved it with Magneto, that's not going to trigger it. Although if you play your own Magneto, it will move. Now, nevertheless, if it moved via Bifrost, right? Also, it's not going to get the +2. So just keep in mind, you have to play your own card with an on reveal for the card to move and gain +2 power. Also, the last big thing, again, most of you probably already know this, the on reveal on the card that you're playing does not need to actually trigger for Werewolf by Night to move and get the +2 power, which I feel is an odd interaction, but it just says, as the text reads, after you play an on reveal card. That's it. It doesn't say the on reveal on that card has to trigger. Wording is very particular in card games. Keep that in mind. So let's say you have a Cosmo on the board and you play something under your Cosmo. The on reveal won't trigger naturally. However, Werewolf by Night will trigger and move. So that's very important to keep in mind. I think, again, this card is going to be very strong. It has definitely a lot of synergies. Obviously, the first one is very obvious. It's a 3 energy card. So Silver Surfer comes to mind right off the bat. Not only does Surfer buff it for +2, but Surfer isn't on reveal. And that means that it will move to the Silver Surfer lane, which is important because, as most of you are aware, the Silver Surfer lane in a Silver Surfer deck is usually the weakest power lane. Whether you have Brood and other things going on in other lanes and you're playing Surfer in another lane to trigger everything, that Surfer is often left again in a lane that doesn't have a lot of power. Werewolf by Night does kind of solve that problem if it's already on the board, which naturally it should be, but you could wait till turn 6 and play Werewolf by Night and Surfer and nothing else, and you probably have a lot going on before that. But if you have it on the board already, it's going to get the +2 from Surfer to make it a 3/5, and then move to the Surfer lane to make it a 3/7. And 3/7 is already good rate, very good rate for a 3 energy card. And anything more than that is just way above rate. Got some pretty nice variants here for Werewolf by Night. Got the Night Forge, the Legion of Monsters, and then this classic Marvel Comics cover for Werewolf by Night, which these are going to be very cool. We got a few of these coming. We all seen the Thanos one that everybody wants. Don't pretend like you don't want it, because you do. With the fist and all the stones in there. It's the it's the Thanos classic comic book cover. We all know what I'm talking about. I do like this Night Forge variant. The base variant is weak. It's definitely a weak base art. The Night Forged or even the Legion of Monsters I would love to have over the base art. I'll take any of them. Whichever one is the 700, which is probably going to be this one, the classic cover, I would definitely take that in a heartbeat. So again, I just want to jump in here real quick. The manager version of myself is stepping in just to remind everybody, if you could just please like the videos, subscribe, whatever. I'd greatly appreciate that. Okay, so let's get that's out the way. Housekeeping's out the way. Let's continue. I have a deck here. Okay, so this is just a simple, I've now put a name to this deck better than just what I had it before, which was Elsa Nico Miracle thing. Okay, so I've called it Point Explosion because that's what you're looking to do here. Now, there's some things going on here. There's on reveals here, and this is a deck. First of all, my recommendation is don't play this deck in Conquest. Maybe try it, but I don't know. On ladder, this deck is going to catch a lot of people surprise. Just like the base version of the deck that I had working, where I took Thor and Jane Foster out of the deck and try to, have it really low to the ground. In this deck, I want those cards back in, obviously because of Werewolf by Night. Here's how I see this deck. Right, so turn 1, if you can, you're looking to either leverage either Nico or Kitty. Nico's not a must. Depending on what ability she has available, you might want to take advantage of it. If it's something where it's like destroy and draw 2, and maybe you have Yellow Jacket or Wasp in hand, go ahead and do that. Preferably Wasp, because you might want to save Yellow Jacket for later, right? Because as a lot of people tend to forget, because the Yellow Jacket was a forgotten card, that card has an on reveal on it. Okay, let's keep that in mind. So turn 1, ideally you want to play Kitty, obviously. Turn 2, Elsa, right? If you don't have Elsa, put armor in here because you might want to protect something later. Because Thor is definitely going to be, you want Thor to be elite, the 10 power, and then you want Werewolf by Night to be a lot. In this deck, a lot. You're generally happy with Werewolf by Night just being a 3/7. Let's not forget that. It's very strong without a lot of downside. Also, again, if you don't have Elsa, maybe just put Kraven in here. I'm going to be working on a build that has Kraven involved in some of the move elements, but I want to try this first. Okay, turn 2 Elsa. Turn 3 something plus Kitty. Something preferably not being Mysterio. If you have Jeff, great. You want to play Jeff and Kitty. If not, you just want to play Kitty and possibly even nothing else. What did I say? That was turn 3. Or again, more over both of those two options. If you have Werewolf by Night in hand, this is the turn to play Werewolf by Night, right? Want to play it on turn 3, maybe even turn 4, depending on when you have it. Now turn 4, you want to play Thor and Kitty, or Thor and Nico, again, depending on what ability she has available. Turn 4 is a great turn to play Thor, because you don't want Mjolnir to take the draw out of something else possibly coming into your hand that you need, especially a hit monkey, right? Let Jane Foster do the work to get Mjolnir out, right? So you want Thor on turn 4, unless you have got nothing else to play on turn 3, in which case you got to play Thor. Okay. Turn 5, Jane. Jane is the play on turn 5. If you don't have Jane, then maybe this is a good time to drop Werewolf by Night if you hadn't before, in combination with like Kitty and Nico, or Werewolf by Night and Jeff, Elsa and Werewolf by Night. You've got a lot of options here, as you can see. There's different options, and there's enough 2s and 3s in here where you have a decent enough option to play on like a turn 5. Again, if you don't have Jane, maybe you want to do Werewolf, Kitty, and Nico. You have options here, right? So ideally on turn 6 now at this point, play everything you have. Just completely go nuts. If you have Hitmonkey on the board, great. I didn't mention Cosmo before. Cosmo is here as mainly protection. Okay, so if your opponent is playing something that you think you're really gonna need to stop, put Cosmo down somewhere, right? If they're playing Destroy, try to ruin their fun, get a Cosmo down. If they put a Wong down, get Cosmo in there. Okay, so if you don't feel like Cosmo works here, you don't want to have Cosmo in here, take Cosmo out, put another one in, put another two, put in one in that has an on reveal, put in Rocket Raccoon. Hell, like, is it a great card? No, but does it work well here? Yes. just because, you know, Elsa, Werewolf by Night got bouncing around all over the place, could just work, right? Or armor, take out Cosmo, put in armor. Armor is a great protection for this deck, and is great for also disrupting what Destroy does, more so sometimes than Cosmo. So that being said, turn 6, ideally, here's how turn 6 works in my brain in this deck. You already have Werewolf by Night on the board, okay? And again, this is ideal. Thor's on the board. Jane Foster, you've played Jane Foster on 5. Let's say now you have Wasp, Yellow Jacket, Mjolnir, all in hand. You have Elsa on the board, okay? This now allows you to play Hitmonkey. Let's keep a tally on how many cards are getting played. First of all, allows you to play Hitmonkey, Yellow Jacket, Wasp, Mjolnir, and well, how much is that? That's still only 3 energy used. If you have enough space, hell, Mysterio and Kitty. You can play 6 cards, and Mysterio technically is 3, so you can play technically 8 cards. You're gonna have space for that? No, you're not. So generally, you're not going to be doing something like that. However, you might be doing something close to that. You might be able to do Hitmonkey, Mysterio with Yellow Jacket and Mjolnir. You might have space for all that because, again, you're not playing a lot of cards before turn 6. And as I've stated before in a previous video, nobody's playing Wave right now. So you can get away with just and this is not a deck where Mobius shuts you down at all. So you don't have to worry about that either. You can just have at it. But again, ideally, if you're not playing a whole lot, but you're playing just enough, if you can play Yellow Jacket, Hitmonkey, even Wasp and Kitty, let's say, and Mjolnir on turn 6, let's count how many on reveals that is for a Werewolf by Night. It's already on the board. It's a 3/3. Okay, let's say your first on reveal you play Yellow Jacket. To bounce to that lane, it's gonna be a 3/5. You play Mjolnir, it's gonna bounce somewhere else. Make sure you play these things in opposite lanes so it has the space to bounce around, and like I said, the available space to bounce. Just plan the play out properly. Okay, so the Yellow Jacket, it bounces to the Yellow Jacket lane. It's now a 3/7. It bounces to the Mjolnir lane. It's now a 3/9. Bounces to wherever Hitmonkey is going to get played. It is now a 3/11. Again, the big reason you don't want to be playing a lot of things before turn 6 is to allow that to happen. You might not have all of that available. It might just be, okay, you have Werewolf by Night on the board. You play Hitmonkey and Mysterio, right? And it's gonna bounce just the one time. And let's say Hitmonkey, Mysterio, Mjolnir, right? Let's say you have just enough space to make that work. It's gonna bounce twice. It's a 3/7. Hitmonkey's gonna get big. Thor gets big. There's gonna be a lot happening if you can manage the space. That's gonna be the key thing with this card. You know, people are talking about being good in a Thanos build, which it will be, but again, you gotta have the space. You gotta have the right space for this to work. I think this goes so low to the ground and doesn't do a lot before turn 6 on the board. Cause in my brain, Kitty's bouncing back to your hand. So you're playing Kitty's bouncing back to your hand. you have else on the board. The cards that you definitely need to have on the board, hypothetically before this turn 6, you want else on the board, you want Werewolf by Night on the board, Thor is going to be on the board, and Lady Foster is going to be on the board. That's 4 cards, okay? Which means you have 8 available spaces remaining. You just have to plan it properly for Werewolf by Night to bounce around, okay? And inherently, it has its own protection built in, because if it's just sitting on the board as a 3/3, your opponent can't interact with it, right? So your opponent looking to play Shang-Chi or even a Shadow King against you, once it's done its move, is going to be difficult to pinpoint because it's going to bounce around. It's not like Thor. Thor's statically in one location, and your opponent can go, okay, I'm away from the drop Mjolnir, and he's gonna have priority, and boom, I'm gonna cut it down. Now, also with this deck, keep in mind you probably will not have priority, which is exactly what you want. You do not want priority here because, again, things bouncing around, on reveals going off, things getting big in power. If you can wait to spike your power, that's the ideal situation, right? Now, too bad, so sad if you run into somebody playing Alioth, which is a lot of people. Card has a very high play rate, but we'll see. I don't know. I think this is a decent enough shell where this works. This is a thing to try, in my opinion. I don't know if it's good or not. I know how I've built this kind of deck, not including Werewolf by Night, and how I've been playing it recently. Pretty much works. It takes a lot of people by surprise on ladder. I've never tried it in Conquest. I'm not sure I would, but a lot of people are climbing on ladder. You're trying to climb on ladder. You're trying to climb on Infinite. The purpose of ladder, you're trying to catch people off guard, right? So that's what this is doing. Trying to catch people off guard. So I think Werewolf by Night is good. I think this is maybe a deck to try. There's definitely a bunch of other input X generic surfer deck here and try it out, probably cut Brood, which is crazy, right? You're like, I don't want to cut Brood out of a surfer deck. That's, but maybe you got to cut Brood. This thing is going to need some space to bounce around. Maybe you want to have Maximus in there. Maximus isn't on reveal. It's going to bounce with Maximus. It's going to get surfer. There's going to be a lot happening in that deck. Prepare yourselves for Silver Surfer to rear his head again. He's gonna be back in a big way. Surfer is not getting played a lot right now, but I promise you Surfer is going to be making his way back into things. That being said, on a scale of maybe like what do we usually do with these cards in a 1 to 5 range, I have this card at the moment as a 4.5, right? Because I think Nico's like a 4. 3 something, 3.75 ish, right? I think this card is a little bit stronger than that. It has that sense of not really utility per se, like Nico's utility, but it's got this power scaling that's very unique, and in a way where it's kind of like Silk, but it's gaining power, right? So, and we all know Silk is a meta card. A lot of the good decks, it's 2/5 that bounces around all over the place, triggering things. But Werewolf by Night is that, but it's gaining power every time it bounces, pretty much. And that's going to be really strong. I got this 4.5. This is going to be a very good card. I would say get this card. That's my recommendation. If you don't have 6,000 tokens, naturally you're going to need to spend some cashes on this card. This is one of the cards that we've been, telling people to save your spotlight caches for. Yeah, this one. Silk is a good card if you don't have it. Ghost Spider is fine. It's definitely a good card if you definitely want to be playing some of this move stuff. It's not a shocker that Werewolf by Night is in the same cache as Silk and Ghost Spider. They know what they're doing with, having these cards that have synergy being in the same spotlight cache. So that being said, Werewolf by Night, thumbs up, early thumbs up. I haven't even played with the card yet, but thumbs up. Gonna be doing some streaming later and definitely testing out this card. And that's it. I appreciate everybody. Again, thank you for checking out my videos. Thank you for liking the videos. Please continue to do that. Share this video with anybody you may think gets some value out of it. And I am Flash. Thank you guys. Love you all. Peace out.